We exist inside of time just like fish exist inside of water, because time is a medium for humans just like the ocean is a medium for fish. And each day within time comes to us like a wave in the ocean. So each wave in the ocean can be looked at as a wrinkle in the fabric of time-space. If time is an ocean/medium, then the dispensation of time can be seen as waves in the ocean. Imagine if we were all standing up in a wave pool. The waves would pass through the water and through all of us. Consider this and explore the idea that what if, instead of us passing through time, what if time is really passing through us? The main thing that inspired me to make this documentary was when I realized that deja vu should not be a thing if the nature of time from the perspective of modern physics is true. I don't normally make promises, but I promise you, if you give me 1 hour of your time right now, I will unlock the mysteries of time itself and answer questions that you've been trying to answer for your whole life. Ancient people had a different way of understanding the nature of time than what we have today. And these differences lie in the way that we view the universe versus the way that the ancient people viewed the universe. The ancients conceived the universe with Earth being a stationary plane in the middle, surrounded by the waters above and the waters below. Some people say that the ancestors say that the Earth is in between heaven and hell, but that's not what the ancestors say. That's what the church came along and interpreted the ancestral knowledge into, or should I say misinterpreted into. And this isn't a bunch of mythology, fairy tales, and spookism. The ancients had a very legitimate science to support their conception. You see, the ancients saw the Earth as a dielectric inertial plane in the middle of a torus field. And I won't have to go deep into the technical information concerning torus fields because the first portion of this series is mainly dealing with time travel. But just so I don't throw big words around and leave you in the dark, here is basically what a torus field is. And as you can see, the plane in the middle represents where we would be on the circle of the Earth. So if you're familiar with this ancient conception, then you know that in the middle of this is the North Pole, and the ancients saw the North Pole as the point in the universe where time is being created. Again, I'm not going to go into deep technicalities in this video when it comes to the nature of the torus field, because we don't need to understand how the ancestors understood the nature of time. We only need these basics that I'm giving you now. So ancient people saw the North Pole as the epicenter of a ripple effect, and they described it as the place that is responsible for recycling all layers of time through the present. And you can look at the present as our current position in the universe in relation to time and space. So let's just pick any spot on the circle, and that represents where you are right now at the present moment on the Earth. Whatever city, whatever state you're in, this represents where our consciousness is projecting our current experience that we call life. The ancestors saw time as an ocean, and each day passing like a wave in the ocean. And wherever you are on the circle of the Earth, time is distributed from the center of the circle outward, saturating the entire circle, bringing a new day or a new ripple into manifestation as an old ripple passes. We exist in time, and the key word is in time, not on top of time or up under time. We exist inside of time just like fish exist inside of water, because time is a medium for humans just like the ocean is a medium for fish. And each day within time comes to us like a wave in the ocean. So each wave in the ocean can be looked at as a wrinkle in the fabric of time-space. Time is a container to humans just like the ocean is a container to fish. This is why we pair time with space, and we actually call it time-space or space-time. If time is an ocean/medium, then the dispensation of time can be seen as waves in the ocean. Imagine if we were all standing up in a wave pool. The waves would pass through the water and through all of us. Consider this and explore the idea that what if, instead of us passing through time, what if time is really passing through us? We've always said that time passes. We've never said that it ceased to exist. What I mean by this is, think of it as a car that passed you by. The car didn't cease to exist when it traveled out of your view. It's still there. It's just out of your field of view. Just like the car that passes you and travels out of view is still there. And you can even go back and catch up with it if you wanted to and bring it back into your field of view. What if yesterday is still there as a parallel reality in time that passed you? And just like the car, what if you could go back to it, catch up with it, and bring it back into your reality/current field of view? If I asked you a question, where did yesterday go? Many of us would say it passed. We would acknowledge that it's located behind us, just like we subconsciously acknowledge that tomorrow is located in front of us. Now, the last time I checked, the way that reality worked, if you know the location of a thing, then you should have no problem finding that thing. So if we know that yesterday is located behind us and tomorrow is located in front of us, will knowing the location of these places in time allow us to actually go to these destinations. According to the ancient people, all of time has already been dispensed, and the past and the future is already taking place simultaneously. Because we know that yesterday is behind us, if I ask the person, how do you get back to yesterday? One could say via memory, via looking back into the past to bring back something that passed you by, to recollect it or recollect it in memory. But if it's possible to travel backwards and forward in time, and we know that tomorrow is located in front of us, how do we actually get to tomorrow? Well, we don't. Most of us wait for tomorrow to come to us, which goes back to why I brought up the wave and the car example. Time is passing through us. Each day is a wrinkle in time, and if time is an ocean, then each wrinkle in the fabric of space-time is equivalent to a wave in the ocean. Just like waves can't be dispensed without the ocean, time can't be dispensed without the ether, or what the ancients call the primordial ocean. Now let's talk cause and effect. Because the ocean exists, waves can move through it. The waves aren't the cause, they are the effect. But what kind of effect? The answer to that is a ripple effect. Our entire universe sits within a primordial ocean, and time is being dispensed from the center outward as a ripple effect. And everything within this ocean is exposed to the waves of time. The universe is composed of a series of actions that started from one divine act. That's the cause. A cause is a person or thing that gives rise to an action, phenomenon, or condition. The body is a lower condition of the soul. The cause of the body is the soul releasing its energy, just like the cause of waves in the ocean is the release of energy. Think of a seed. It's full of energy, but the energy is compressed. The energy is still until you plant the seed, then the energy is released, causing the seed to transform into a plant. Just like dropping a rock in water creates a ripple effect, Dropping a seed in the ground creates a ripple effect, an endless chain of reactions by which the seed becomes a tree, then the tree becomes many seeds, that becomes many trees, that becomes many seeds, that becomes many trees. And it just keeps going, because when we talk about life, life stems from this primordial ocean. And unlike the Pacific Ocean, anything dropped in the primordial ocean will create an endless ripple effect. Look at the ground like an ocean that's more dense, and the earth's vibration as the cause of this ripple effect. These waves aren't just passing through the ocean, they're passing through everything in all of creation, including the ground. This ripple effect that's coming from the North Pole is pushing these ripples through everything on earth. And as these ripples move through us, they're transforming us, stripping away the old version and bringing in constant new versions. It's a vibration that's unraveling our potential. When we're dropping the seed into the ground, the vibration of the earth is unraveling its contents, basically shaking it open, or awakening the sleeping potential that lies within it. And the seed cannot awaken until it's shaken. This shaking process is the ripple effect of time. It's the waves of life that permeate through all creation, keeping change constant. Let me remind you that what we are discussing here is how ancient people understood the nature of time. And what we must keep in mind is that the ancients still have the most accurate timekeeping systems in the world, even to this day. According to ancient people, time isn't a line. It's a ripple effect, and each new day is a wave that passes behind us as a new one comes into view in front of us. This happens simultaneously at the same time. One is leaving while one is coming, just like a ripple effect. This is the reality of how we experience time, and in fact, most of the deities that represent time resemble ripple effects, like the most common one, the god Kronos/Saturn. Now, in the next part of this series, we're going to really have a lot of fun dealing with the symbolism of different deities and gods that represent time, and breaking down their sacred geometry using syncretism. And this will bring us even more closer to understanding how the ancients perceived time, while also removing the spookism and mysticism associated with these deities. So please be on the lookout for that. Now let's revisit the car analogy. Again, just like the car that passes you is still there, you just can't see it until it comes to you. Before the car appeared in your field of view by emerging on the horizon line, it was always there as well. If you had a vehicle faster than the car, then you would be able to catch up with the car when it passed you. And vice versa, you would be able to make the car appear in your field of sight before it made it to you by traveling to it. This idea is the basic foundation of why ancient people saw time travel as a real thing. Because to the ancients, each day is like that car. When a day passes you, just like the car, it's possible to catch back up with the car when it passed you. It's also possible to bring the car into your field of view before it's visible by you going to it. This way of perceiving time is why the ancients said that it's possible to move forward and backwards in time, and this is the foundation of time travel into the past and future. So the ancients clearly had a different understanding about the nature of time than us, but the question is, were they right? If they were right, then one way we can prove it is if we were able to travel forward and backwards in time, or time travel. Modern physics say that we can't travel forward or backwards in time, but is this true? Who's right? If the ancients' explanation of time is accurate, then just like it will be possible for us to catch up with the car that passed us and bring it back into view, according to the ancients, we should be able to catch up with the day that passed us. If the ancients are right, we would be able to time travel back to yesterday and bring it back into view, just like the car. If it's true that it exists behind us as a ripple in the fabric of time-space, is this possible? Well, many people have experienced dreams where they are back in time at previous events in their life, reliving them as if they were happening at the present moment. And if they'd never wake up, they would continue to live on from that point in time until they revisit the future where they fell asleep to revisit the past. You can see how time can have this looping effect because of its true nature. Be on the lookout for my future video where I'll be teaching specifically about the looping effect of time and reincarnation cycles. So this shows us that it is possible to go back to a previous point in time and relive that experience because it's still there and it's still happening. It just simply moved beyond your field of view, just like the car. To understand this further, I'd like to let you hear an interpretation of this concept from Neville Goddard. And this will be read by Irada J. Sub to her channel and tell her I sent you.
You see, all things are taking place now. Eternity exists, and all things in eternity, independent of creation, which was an act of mercy. So the whole thing is taking place now. Everything is. I can slip back in time or forward in time, and the past has not ceased to be. It is taking place as it took place and still takes place when anyone enters that section of time. The year 3000 is, and is taking place when anyone enters it. It's all taking place as the year 1969 finds us standing on the moon. It always has been so. The whole vast world is, and we are in a dream, dreaming all these lovely dreams and horrible dreams. Neville Goddard.
Each day is a wave in the ocean. We can go back to waves that pass us, and likewise, we can go to waves that haven't made it to us yet, which leads to my next point. Now that we've explained moving back in time, let's talk moving forward in time. So just like when the car passed you, it's still there. Before the car ever make it to your field of view, it's still there as well. So what would it be like to travel forward in time and see the car by traveling to it versus waiting on it to travel to you? Well, this will be called déjà vu. And déjà vu is when something plays out that we've already seen play out before. And it plays out in the exact same way. And it's not just a regular memory. It's as if you were there in the future and actually experienced this before. It's very nostalgic. Everything down to the way the room smelled, to the very way you were feeling emotionally at the point it all happened. The details are so in sync that there's no other way to explain it other than, well, you were there. We can relive past experiences because we were there. And likewise, we can relive future experiences because we're already there. The past and the future is playing out simultaneously. All points in time are playing out simultaneously right now, the past and the future. We're not waiting for tomorrow to happen. It's already happening. What we're waiting for is for this happening to travel into our field of sight, just like the car emerging on the horizon line. It's no different than when you began a dream. The version of you in that parallel reality was already active, doing whatever it was doing before you became conscious of it. And when you leave the dream world, that version of you continues on acting and performing without you being conscious of it. There are multiple versions of you living out multiple parallel realities simultaneously. And at any given moment, you can hop from one to another. So each of these waves already have you, the surfer, riding it. Each of these cars already have a version of you, the driver, driving it. And you don't take this version of yourself to the dream because there's already a version of you in that parallel reality. It's like multiple movies playing out, and all of the movies are starring you. And we have the ability to change the channel at any time and hop into any one of our many different selves that exist in the many parallel realities within the multiverse. And there is a version of you that exists in yesterday and a version of you that already exists in tomorrow. Because of this, it's possible to travel forward and backwards in time by projecting the mind back and forth into these different selves that exist in the past and the future. But why don't we remember deja vu or future events that we experience like we remember past events? It's like we don't remember we've been to a point in the future until that point in the future finally makes its way into the present. And this is a bit different than remembering past events. My research shows me that the fact we don't remember future experiences that we've been exposed to the same way we remember past experiences is another testament to the true nature of time. What makes traveling forward in time different from traveling backwards? Let me just repeat the fact that according to the ancients, each day is like a wave that passes us by, and we already exist in each wave. Again, we don't take our physical body with us to the dream, we're already there. For example, if you revisit your high school prom, you don't take your 50-year-old body to the dream because the high school version of you is still at the prom, dancing right now. And this is why you can revisit the prom as if it was happening at the present moment while you're in a dream. Every second is like a frame, a reference point in time that can be revisited, and you can start the movie at that point. No different than watching a movie and rewinding or fast forwarding the movie at any given point and then hitting play from any of these points. Each second in time is like the page in a flip book. Flip books are small books with a series of images that change gradually from one page to the next. So when the pages are flipped quickly, the images appear to animate. So going back to our wave example or our car example, each wave is like a page in a book that's being flipped through. And the reader can go back and revisit pages of the book that they've already read. And he can skip forward to points in the book that he have not read yet and get a glimpse of those before he actually really make it to that point in time in the book. The way that we've been taught about time is that each page of the book is empty until we flip to it. But even the writers of the Bible knew that everything was already written out from the beginning to end, and that all things within God have already been fulfilled. These kind of concepts are ancient Christians' ways of saying that the past and the future have already taken place. This is why the Bible constantly says, in the beginning was the Word. Everything was already written out from beginning to end. This is why we can have deja vu. And this is an early Christian's way of acknowledging the fact that we're in a simulation. In a simulation, everything is already programmed from beginning to end. In a video game, the end of the game is already programmed into the game, and the creators of the game don't wait till your character to reach the end for them to start programming it into the game. In other words, they don't program the game as they play it. They write the game out from beginning to end, and then they experience it from a gamer's perspective as a character trying to make it from the beginning to the end. So everything was already written out from beginning to end. And this is why we can have deja vu, because the pages of this book all contain scripture. And when we flip forward to a page of the book in the future, and we come back to where we are currently reading at in the present, when we catch up to that point in the book, we say, I saw this before. We experience deja vu. Every second is a reference point in time, a checkpoint, a page in a flip book that the observer can go back to and use as a restart point, like a checkpoint system. So right now, there's a reference point in time where you're at your high school prom still dancing, because each second of time is cut up like pages in a flip book, creating a series of events. And you can revisit any one of these pages or events, and that point in time is still happening. Like a flip book, every action is already sketched into each page, and all one have to do is flip the pages to make the book come to life. So each day is like the flipping of the pages in a cosmic flip book, and this flipping of the pages is unraveling an endless series of events, or what we call life. So your high school self is still at the prom right now dancing. This point in time passed you, but it's still there, still happening. And you can go back to it, but you don't take your body, you take your observer. Remember that you exist as a character that's already written into each page of the book. The only thing that's changing is the pages. This reverts the attention of the observer to any point on the book. Flipping backwards is going to the past, and flipping forward is going to the future. So when we go to different parallel realities in the dream, we're literally turning the pages of a cosmic book, allowing us to revisit our past and our future. Also allowing us to visit entirely different alternative realities where there are different scenarios playing out all together. And this would be more like changing the book versus changing the page. We exist in every page in the book, but we also exist in every book in our own library. So the multiverse is like a library with an infinite amount of books, and every one of us exists in every book on every page. The question is, how many of us are reading the same book and on the same page at the same time at any given time? That number will represent how many people are conscious in any one of these worlds at any given time. Just because their character is written into every book on every page doesn't mean every reader is reading every book and every page at the same time. It doesn't mean that we're synced in our reading. So what do I mean by this? I'll give you a quick example. When you dream, your family is in the dream. Your mother is there, all of your friends. But when you wake back up here, if you ask them, do they remember what they were doing in your dream? They will say no. Everyone is a character in every book in the multiverse, and they exist on every page, just like your mom exists in all of your dreams, but she's not conscious of it. You are. So you can look at it this way. The multiverse is this vast cosmic library, and when you go to sleep, you put this book on the shelf and you grab another book off of the shelf and you start reading an alternate version of this reality. The same people are written into that book, but the same people that exist with you here in this book aren't necessarily reading that book that you grabbed at that moment. So when you come back from the dream, it's like you read a book starring your whole family that they didn't read, and you start telling them about the dream or the parallel reality that they were in with you, but only you read it, so they can't remember it because it was a book you read starring them. And likewise, they can pick up other books and be conscious of alternate realities that have you in them that you aren't conscious of. Every one of us exists in all of the universes in the multiverse, but we can't be in them all at the same time at once consciously. The same way you couldn't read an infinite amount of books at the same time. You can switch back and forth in between the books, though. All of the universes that we exist in, that we're not conscious of ourselves or our avatar in that universe, our avatar in that universe is moving around on autopilot. It's like an extra in a movie, carrying out everything you would have carried out had you been there consciously. Because remember, it's a script that we can't edit. Just like the Bible said, this book was written out from the beginning to the end, and all we're doing is picking it up and reading it from any given point. We're not making it up as we go. It's already written out. That's why when you dream, you're already acting out a series of actions in the dream. You know who you are in that dream. You know what you're doing. And you have all of these multiple realities playing out simultaneously. And at any time, you can change the channel and hop into any one of these realities. You don't have to make up the script. You're just acting it out. You're a reader of your own scripted material. And if we don't like what we're reading, we don't edit the book. We just pick up another book. Because all possibilities have already been written out in each book. Just like a visit to the library, you don't rewrite a book you don't like. You just put it back on a shelf and find one you do like. It's possible that two people can meet up in a dream or in a parallel reality if they were to go to sleep and visit this vast cosmic library and they both picked up the same book. The reason all of us exist in this particular reality at this time is because we all are like students in the library that chose the same book. And we started reading it at roughly the same time. Some of us finished the book before others. Some of us start the book before others. But all of the readers whose time overlap are the people who exist within your lifetime. And some of those people started reading this same book you're reading before you, which is why they finish it before you. We call those our elders. Just like the characters in the book take the reader on a journey, the body acts like a vehicle to allow the mind/observer to travel backwards and forward in time by projecting into the many versions of you that already exist in each wave. When we travel backwards, we are revisiting experiences that have already passed through our present point in time. So since we've already experienced them, traveling back to them is a revisitation. It's not a deja vu moment. And this is because we exist on each wave. If a person time travels to the next day or to tomorrow, the version of them that's already there in tomorrow has already experienced the previous day, but the present you haven't. So when the present you project itself into tomorrow's you or into the future self, when you come back, you're inside of a different version of you that hasn't seen tomorrow yet. If each version of us is limited by what it knows based on its position in time, then this explains why when you come back here to the present version of the self, its memory of being in the future seems to be deleted because that version of you have not seen the future. The observer left that particular version of you. You left that body and you was able to see the future by experiencing it in your future self. But when you come back to your present self, that memory isn't available because the present self hasn't experienced that point in time yet. This is actual proof of the true nature of time, ladies and gentlemen. And to make this make even more sense, using the book analogy again, let's just say we're all reading a book at a certain page in a book, and you just skip ahead a huge chunk of pages and you start reading what's on a future page, and afterwards you skip back to the page that we were all on and sync back up with us. Eventually, you will reach that page again and say, wow, I've read this before. And you won't know exactly when your class is going to catch back up to that page that you skipped ahead to. It's going to catch you off guard. It's going to come like a thief in the night because it was just a random flip ahead. You didn't memorize the page number or anything like that. So when it comes back to you, it's going to be a surprise, but a nostalgic one where you remember, hey, I read this before the class actually made it to this part. This is a deja vu moment. And these people in the past who harness this ability are the ones we call the prophets. The Mayans were said to be time travelers, and their calendar is more accurate than ours. Their calendar goes all the way into the future, making predictions that are very accurate. Historians like to act like they don't know how the Mayans were able to make these predictions, but I'm telling you now how they were able to do it. When we travel forward in time and come back to the present point in time, our memory of us traveling forward in time isn't activated until that future point in time actually catches up to the present point. Deja vu is a result of a person traveling forward in time and coming back to the present. Technically, it hasn't happened in this particular reality yet. These are all parallel realities. That's why when you travel forward to a future parallel reality and come back to the present, you don't remember because it hasn't happened here yet. You only remember it as it starts to unfold here. You only begin to remember it at the exact moment it starts to unfold here in this present realm, because the memory of this trip isn't stored in the brain. It's stored in the subconscious, because that's the part of us who is the observer. That's the part of us that detaches from the body. The version of you that resides in this present parallel reality has its own memories programmed into its brain, its childhood, its teenage years, and each version of you have their own set of memories based upon their position in time, as we explained previously. So the 50-year-old you knows everything about the 40-year-old you, but the 40-year-old you knows nothing about the 50-year-old you. So if you travel forward in time to the 50-year-old you and come back to the 40-year-old you, that memory hasn't yet been created in the 40-year-old you, but that memory is stored in the subconscious. So when that point in time finally makes its way into the present, you remember it subconsciously. This memory isn't something that's coming from the brain. It's something that's coming from the observer, the soul that left the body and went into the future. And this is why deja vu don't feel like a regular memory. It actually feels as if you're reliving a moment in time, because you are. Another way to look at traveling forward in time, or deja vu, based on the ripple effect concept, is that from our perspective position in the cosmos, time acts like ripples that are constantly passing through us. Each day brings a new you to replace yesterday's you. So like I was saying, life is a book written by the soul, and each day is a page, and each page is already written out. Tomorrow is not a blank page waiting to be written out as we go. The soul isn't freestyling this experience. It wrote out all events prior to it coming. It knew what it had to experience to become its greatest version. Because the soul wrote this book out from beginning to end, it knows if it just follows the script, that the script will lead it to its ultimate destination, that its greatest version is at the end of the book. And that's why a wise man once said, live and learn. And another one said, go with the flow. That's it. What if I told you there's nothing to figure out in life, and that the soul already wrote out its escape plan and already forged its path, and all you have to do is don't stray from it? The people in power, their job is to get us to stray from our path by seeking outside solutions and giving us a new script outside of the one written by our soul. And this new script will forge an alternate path in your life that leads you to an alternative end destination. This new script will create a new series of events that will lead you into an alternate reality that plays out for your life other than the one that you intended for yourself from the beginning. Everything you need to do to reach your ultimate destination is already written inside of you, which is why Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is within. So at the North Pole, time is being created. But what exactly is at the North Pole? What's at the North Pole is your higher self, the author of all these books that you're experiencing. And all of these books will lead you back to the author at the end of your life cycles. So each book you complete is like one step that you're past as you journey up this stairway to heaven. The higher up we go, time moves slower. And the highest point in the universe is at the North Pole, where time is being created. Your higher self is always ahead of your lower self. It's in the future. Remember, your 50-year-old self know more than what your 40-year-old self know. So your higher self is like your final version of what's called the all-knowing. It knows of all of your lifetimes. And this is because as the author, it's read all of the books. And it knows that each book ends with you becoming a god and making it to your final destination. So in your cosmic library, you're a character in all of the books. And even though all of these versions of you may have a different story, they have the same ending, which is all of them discovering who they really are, which is an author, not a character in the book. So all roads lead back home, and all of the many versions of the self will unite and merge with the source self in the end. And what that experience would be like is when we become full Godhead and start to be able to remember all of these previous lifetimes and exist outside of time. And I know that this is all of our ultimate destination. And we all will eventually get there, some quicker than others. So again, you exist on every page in the book, and on the last page of the book, there's a happy ending where you master yourself and become your highest version. But remember that this glorified version of you already exists at this point in time, or should I say outside of time. So your higher self is a path blazer or forge runner. From this place outside of time, it's able to create time. And time is basically a series of events that it has written out for you to act out. And if you follow these series of events, they will all lead you back to the source. If you stray from this path, you will be misled and will have to keep trying until you complete the script. Each day is a feed/signal that we are receiving from our source self/the author of the story, aka the creator. Now let me be redundant for just a minute. This character in the book is written into each page's script already. And what deja vu is when the present self projects itself into the future self and returns back to the present self. The present self hasn't experienced what the future self has experienced. The memory isn't stored in the present self's brain. It's stored in the observer's subconscious. Therefore, until this point in time catches up to the present point in time, you won't even remember traveling to the future, because the version of you that exists in the present time hasn't experienced the future. But the soul can travel outside of the body and experience the future and store that memory in the subconscious, not the brain. The brain is only there to process the script. All the brain knows is the script that the body should be carrying out. It's directly related to your mortal experience. But the soul is the part of you that can go beyond the brain and travel into other brains, other bodies that exist in other worlds. It's like saying that the character in the book is bound to the script, but the reader is not. The character in the book is bound to that book only, but the reader can change books. If the body is the character in the book that is bound to the script, then the soul is the part of you that can stop reading at any time and stop playing any of these roles that you're playing out in any given time in any given parallel universe. The soul is the observer of the character, not the character, and the soul can play many characters in many different books. And that's what the soul is doing. It's reading all of these books, all of these different versions of the self. It's learning and studying itself in each of these parallel realities, taking the good and leaving the bad. And it's exploring all possibilities, being very thorough. It's collecting a bunch of data from each of these simulations, each of these parallel realities that will allow it to become its greater version. It's playing out all of the possibilities during the process of elimination so that the only layer or version of itself that's left is its greatest version. You can't truly say that something is the greatest if you haven't tried them all. And that's exactly what the soul's journey is all about. To explore all the many selves so that it can manifest its greatest version. But keep in mind, its greatest version is already manifested in its higher reality. Reading these books gives the soul the knowledge, gives the soul the script that it needs to reach the last page of the book, which is it becoming its greatest version. The observer can go forward in time to future selves, but if the observer comes back to previous selves, those selves will be blind to the future selves' experiences. And this is to maintain the integrity of each version of the self that exists in each of these universes. And if you want to know what I mean by maintaining the integrity, let me slyway be redundant again here. If I go back in time in a dream and revisit my 9-year-old self, I can't expect to know music production, etymology, or syncretism, because at 9, I hadn't learned any of this stuff yet. The experience of deja vu is similar. To travel to any point in time, past or future, is to check back into that current paradigm that you were in during that time. If I wanted to experience exactly what I was like when I was 9 years old, then if I project back into my 9-year-old body, I can't know none of the stuff that I know now, because that would make that point in time inaccurate. It would make it untrue. And so this book of life is the truth. This is the real Bible. There are no lies written in it. And when you flip to a certain page of the book, that page will represent exactly what that reality was at that point in time. And if you exist at that point in time, it will represent the state that you were in at that exact point. And the experience of deja vu is similar. For example, if I'm 40 years old, but my 50-year-old self already exists on a wave in front of my present 40-year-old self, who doesn't know what my 50-year-old self knows, because my 50-year-old self has experienced years of time that my 40-year-old self haven't experienced yet. Therefore, if my 40-year-old self visit my 50-year-old self tonight in a dream, I won't remember it when I wake up, because the me that's awakening have not experienced these extra 10 years yet, but your 50-year-old self has. If you were to remain in the dream, your 50-year-old self will remember everything that you did when you was 49, 48, and 47. But the moment you leave the dream and wake up in this world, you don't remember what you did when you was 47 and 48, because those years haven't passed yet through this present time. You haven't recorded those memories yet in this avatar's brain, but your 50-year-old version already has. And that version of you already exists with those memories already in it. Those memories will not become your present 40-year-old version's memories until that point in time passes through your 40-year-old's universe, bringing that 50-year-old version of the self to this present point in time. And when that happens, you will have a deja vu moment. Basically bringing that 50-year-old version of the self into that present point in time in your 40-year-old's self universe, because those 10 waves already passed through your 50-year-old self's universe. And by the time those 10 years pass through your universe, that 50-year-old you that was in universe 5 would have been passed down to universe, let's say 2. Let's say if the 40-year-old you is in universe 2, the 50-year-old you is in universe 5. In universe 5, that 50-year-old you, those 10 years already passed through its universe. By the time they pass through universe 2, which is where the 40-year-old you at, that version of you would have been passed down. Each version is recycling through each other's universe. So the 50-year-old you in universe 5, it's gonna take it 10 years to pass down to universe 2. And by then, the version of you in universe 2 will have been a swap places with the 50-year-old version of you that exists in universe 5. It's almost like musical chairs, and it's just passing the waves down, and each version of you will move down a spot as a new one come in. And in each universe, you're aging from that point in that universe, which means there's a version of you that exists at every phase in your life in every universe at all times. And as each of these versions pass through your present universe at this time, you're just swapping versions. Each version of the self is in its own layer of time that exists in its own parallel reality. Time isn't one straight line. You can look at each second or each hour or each year like a checkpoint in time that you can revisit, and all of the checkpoints are recycling themselves through the center of the earth, playing out like a deck of cards. So we ain't moving in one line through time. It's more like we're in one position, and as each day passes, as each wave passes through us, it transforms us to the future self that already existed in that wave. The way that time passes, each version of itself exists on its own page, and as the pages of the book flip, we're going from a baby to adulthood to a senior, and then the book ends. In each of these pockets of time, in each of these parallel realities that you exist in at different times or ages in your life, time is playing out from that point in that universe. So if you visit your 10-year-old body and stay there for 5 years, you will turn 15 in that universe, because all of these universes are passing through the present. And wherever you are in time, the waves of time will still pass through you no matter where you at in the universe. So each wave is expanding as it moves from the center, and it's aging. You're in that wave going from childhood to adult, and the ripples that are toward the center that's closer to the point of impact, those are your future selves. And the waves that are further behind you, those are your past selves. If you go back and visit those waves, you will be revisiting your childhood. So in front of you are future waves that's yet to come your way in this cosmic ocean. And as each wave is dealt to you, you're aging over time. Each wave is transforming you. Like when tomorrow comes, you're going to be another day older. And at the end of the year, now you're another year older. So time is being dealt from the center. And where we're at in the universe, as time passes through us, each of these waves is its own parallel reality that's passing through the present. And as it passes through the present, we become that version of ourselves at that time. So we're not really moving through time. We're in one particular stationary location, and the waves of time are passing through us. And as each wave passes through you, it's like flipping the page of a book. The character is progressing in age and in the script. But remember, each page is its own parallel reality, and you can visit any one of those pages in the past or the future, and time will still be passing inside of that parallel reality from that point. So at any given point of time, there's a version of you that's at every level of your life from a baby to an adult. There's a 40-year-old version of you that's waiting to turn 41. And there's a 43-year-old version of you that's waiting to turn 44. And all of these versions are aging in their own universe, which means at any given time in any given universe, you are maintaining all phases of the self from a child to an adult. In one universe, you're just being born, and in another universe, you're dying. And all of these points in time are just recycling through the center. All points in time are being recycled through the North Pole and dispensed outward from the North Pole. And this is why we say history repeats itself, because at some point, if you deal a deck of cards over and over and over again, the deck will reset itself every 52 cards that are dealt. You can deal this deck of cards forever and never run out of cards, because you're just going to keep redealing the same set. But because you're only limited to 52 cards, even though you're dealing them forever, they will reset every 52 cards that are dealt. And this is to say that time will be dispensed forever. It's an endless ripple effect. But as long as time is being distributed, it will repeat itself, just like that deck of cards. When dealing with the concept of time being forever, the foreverness part is only possible because of a loop around that is represented by the last card that's dealt, signifying the return of the first card again. And this concept was symbolized by the snake eating its own tail, showing us this loop around point in time where the past and future meet. And that snake was called the Ouroboros, which is another deity that represents time. The word Ouroboros translates to hour fight, a fighting in between the hours, symbolizing the polarity of night and day, the day hours and night hours. When I say that time is a ripple effect, if you study a ripple effect, you will see that it has rises and it has falls. Rise, fall, rise, fall. That's what creates the ripple effect. In between every ripple, there's an impression. So the ripples are the rises, but in between them are the dips. So if you were to take a ripple effect and cut it open and look at it from a 2D perspective, you will see it's a sine wave. So when we say that time is a ripple effect, you can look at the rises as the daytime and the impressions as the nighttime. So every 24 hours, we're switching from night, day, night, day, night, day, night, day, night, day. And this is the pattern of a ripple effect. Rise, fall, rise, fall, rise, fall. What that looked like from our perspective is up, down, up, down, up, down. Sleeping, waking up, sleeping, waking up. We're mimicking the sine wave. Everything in creation mimics this. So at some point, that ripple effect will fade away. And we call that the end of our days, or the end of our days and nights. But what happens is, being born again, it means that when the ripple effect fades away over here, it restarts again in another location. We never really die. We just vibrate in a different section of time. If you're dreaming that you're 50, while in the dream, you can remember what you did when you was 45, 46, or 47. But the moment you wake up in this world and you're back in your 40-year-old body, you don't have those memories inside of this avatar. Again, remember what we said earlier, each version of the self is limited to what it knows based upon its position in space-time. And again, what all of this proves is the true nature of time. The way we experience deja vu is in alignment to the fact that time isn't a line. It's a constant ripple effect that's being created at the North Pole. Tomorrow's you is waiting to be revealed with the morning sun as today's you fade away into the past. So like I was saying at the beginning of this video, we can move through time. That would be time travel. But for the most part, time moves through us. The effect of time that's being created at the North Pole is like an EMP blast, and everything that's in the blast zone will be affected by it. If a person say we've arrived at the future, that's not really accurate. What's accurate is to say that the future has arrived at us. To say that we've arrived at the future is to say that we've time traveled into the future. It's possible to travel back and forth within time, just like it's possible to travel back and forth within the ocean. But when you're not moving through the ocean is still moving through you in the form of waves. Each new wave or each new day brings a new version of the self, cleansing us of our older versions. Because the real you is buried underneath all of these layers. And this is why another wise man once said, everything gets better with time.